So hi guys, so today we're going to be making this poster that has all kinds of different elements, logos, handwritten text, some various marks here, and some obvious cutout styles. This poster was created using the following poster as a style that the entire group voted on. So this was the one that most of you wanted to actually make, and you can see how I came up with the poster I have here, just based on my initial look at this poster and to see how it would be made. Obviously my theme is not dancing, but instead is makerspace, which is why I used the different images I used. So I've got a folder full of things for you with the logos, different images for people. I also created this tagline file that will give you the colors of the pink, the yellow, and the green, along with all the text that we've used in this poster, as you can see. So let's get started. I'm going to close this up, and we're going to make this from scratch, starting with a new poster. 11 by 17 at 300 pixels per inch, which is what we've been using. Command minus to zoom out a little bit. We're going to start by putting in the green for the background. So I'm going to select the green, and I'm going to type in this number 4A994E. That's the green I chose. And I'm just going to use the fill tool, G for fill, and fill the background, as you can see. We're going to make a new layer, call it pink. And I'm going to select the pink as the foreground now. You can see that number is FF7BB3, just if you're following along. And I'm going to go ahead and use, again, the gradient, not the gradient tool, the paint bucket tool, and just click to fill in the pink. So now we have two layers, pink and background. I don't have to unlock the background, it's just fine. We're going to use the lasso tool. Right here, and I'm going to use the polygon lasso tool, L for lasso, and I'm going to start with my lasso in the upper right hand corner, go past the bottom right corner, go up outside, and then here, and then I'm just going to hit return to finish that selection. I've selected this area, so when I make a mask, that area will go away, or that area will be selected, which is white, and then this area is transparent because it's black. And I do want the pink on top and the green on the bottom because I think that's how I had it before. Let me double check. Actually, it was just the opposite. So let's go ahead and just invert this layer, Command I. And now we have green on top and pink on the bottom. I don't know why I forgot that. All right, let's bring in some different elements into Photoshop. So I am going to go to my folder here. We'll start with the figure of the girl, and we're just going to open her up in a new layer here. What I'm going to do today, just to make things a little more interesting, is I'm going to go to Windows, Arrange, 2 up vertical. And that'll allow me to work on this layer and then drag it over here and open up new layers that way. So on this side, I'm going to select the girl, W, just going to click in the space, again, select subject if it doesn't select the subject, and go ahead and do a mask. And you'll notice when I do that, this layers will be for this. If I switch by clicking here, you'll notice this changes as well. So this way you can be working on two documents at the same time, and this is why it's interesting. You can physically now just move this here and let go. I'm going to use the move tool, V for move, and I'm going to put her up here, Command T to transform, and I'm just going to just kind of feel out a little bit, Command T to rotate her a little bit. And that'll be where I start with. We can always modify this later. Okay, on this side, I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Open. And this time we're going to open up the other person number 2, which is in this case person number 1. You'll notice it opens up here, so you have all the people here, all the tabs. W to select this person, just click, and go ahead and mask. And the nice part about this is so grunge that you don't need to be accurate. Okay, so now we just move this person into this document, transform this person. I know he's kind of upside down, so there you go. Command T, by the way. And then I'm just going to leave it as that. On this side, we're going to go to File, Open, and we're going to bring in the screenshot of the 3D printer. we're going to open it. Again, W, select, mask, you got the idea. And then we're going to drag that in here into the center. Command T to make it a little bit bigger. It should be a little bigger than that. Something like that. And now we're going to rotate this slightly like this to make it fun. Now we're going to have to arrange things so that they make sense. I'm going to put the girl above everything here. Command T to transform her. I want her feet to just touch the build plate here, but her fingers not to be chopped off. That's pretty good. And then for this person here, Command T, I want the sizes to be somewhat like appropriate, but to him to be underneath the 3D printer so that his feet are kind of hidden, so it kind of feels correct. And a little bit smaller, something like that. And we're good to go. All right, so we have our layout. Now these three objects here, I can select all three by holding the Shift key, as you can see. And what I'm going to do with the Move tool, V for Move, is just scooch them over a little bit just so that they feel somewhat correctly centered in the piece. So again, you can move multiple layers just by holding the Shift key down. But don't forget to deselect the layers by clicking on one of them so they're done. Now, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to make these people the right color soon, but we're not going to do it now. What we're going to do next is we're going to bring in some logos so that we can lay things out. So let's go to File, Open, and we're going to open up our logo area here. And because I'm going to just be using these, and I do not want the background, but I want it to be like a cutout, we're just going to we're going to do a select color range because everything I can see is that I want is kind of black. I'm going to turn the fuzziness up to maybe 36, hit OK, and then I'm just going to mask that. Now, if I were to try to take this thing with the transparency, it wouldn't be transparent because I have a mask here. And this mask, you can see if I hold the Shift key, it can turn off and on. In fact, it's clipping quite a bit, but that's okay. What I want to do is apply this mask so that these are actually cut out so that I can just select this and drag it. So I'm going to do that by dragging this into the trash, and it's going to ask me, should I apply the mask or should I just totally delete it? So you're going to apply it, and at this point we do have the ability to just select something like this make with the marquee tool, M for marquee, you can kind of see, and then I can copy it, Command C, and then I can go over here, Command V, and you can see now I've made this little make badge and it's completely transparent. Command T to transform it, hit OK. And again, because this is so grungy, this works out just fine. Okay, this make will probably go somewhere else. Let's make it a little bit smaller here. Something like that. And probably in the back, but we'll just figure that out later. Now, in the poster that I showed you, I had some words here like, what were they? I had make more, which was what I wanted to make with that special writing. And the way I do that, let's start with a new layer and just call it make more, exclamation mark. And what I'm doing is, I'm lucky enough to be in the lab right now. So I'm going to go to this layer. I'm going to use the brush tool, B for brush, and I'm going to set my brush to the pencil and have it 8 points so that I can write on this layer, make more in 8-point font or in 8 point. And I'm just going to write the word out with my Wacom tablet here. And I'm just going to type. And I don't see it as much, so I'm going to increase the brush size by using the bracket key until I can see something. Actually, I'm going to bracket more. How about 40? Yeah, that's better. So I'm just going to type M-A-K-E M-O-R-E. And I don't need the exclamation mark. I'm just going to do that. So this layer is disposable. It's just giving me the ability to like know where I want to make these like weird letters. So I kind of move it around so that I'm good to go. Now, how do I make these new letters? I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm just going to call this make more solid. And what I'm going to do is use the L for lasso tool. We just used this before, polygon lasso. And I'm just going to zoom in here, and I'm going to use this as my template for lassoing. So for the M, I might go something like this, like this, like this, like this. And this actually will be the letter. Remember, we're going to throw away the other thing. So I'm just doing something like that. So that's one. And what I will be doing is filling it with the color, let's see, this color, this yellow color. In fact, I'm going to just copy it and then come back here and click on our foreground color and paste it in. It's kind of a yellow color, so that's what's going to happen. And if I went to the G for the fill tool, you can see what's going to happen. I'm just going to be doing this for all the letters. And remember, they're all going to be on this make more solid layer. All right, so let's go ahead and finish this up. So go back to my lasso tool. Since I already filled in this, I don't have to worry about adding to it. But if you wanted to continue adding, you'll hold the Shift key down, and that'll allow you to start a new letter like this, like A. So I can just do something like this. Something crazy. Now, if you want to make a hole, instead of holding the Shift, you hold the Option key down when you start. And you can see you can let go of the Option key now, and what it'll do is create a hole. So again, when you're starting a new letter, like if you accidentally click and starting a new letter without holding the Shift key down, this is what happens. So don't do that, right? Let's undo that. So hold the Shift key down, start a new letter. Here's my K, and then holding the Shift key down. And you can see this is just giving that grunge style that we saw before. Holding the Shift key down to start a new letter. And then the O, Shift key. Hope you're hearing all the clicking. Hold the Option key to make a hole. Let go of it after you're well on your way. Hold the Shift key down for a new letter. Don't worry about it overlapping fingers or anything like that. We're going to put it behind the character. And then hold the Option key for the hole. And at this point, you have to be careful because all this work can go away if you accidentally don't hold the Shift key down. Oop! And then you can still undo it by hitting Escape. So hold the Shift key down. And there we go. So we're on this layer. We've got all this selected. We hit the G tool, G for paint bucket, and we've got our yellow selected here, and then we just fill. And as long as you do not have contiguous turned on, if you have contiguous, that seems to work fine anyway, so it doesn't matter. Oh well. Anyway, you can fill in there, and then that's going to fill in that whole area. And you can see there's our letters. One of the things that I noticed about the letters is they had a nice drop shadow. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect. I'm going to throw this make more layer away, so just to get rid of it, because it's not necessary anymore. We've got our make more here. And we know that this make more will be behind the person, right? So you can put it way at the bottom, right above the pink layer if you want, and you can see how that works. So one thing that the make more layer needs is a drop shadow, and we did this in class. So we go to the effects down here, and then we select drop shadow. Now the things that I wanted to have dialed in is multiply. I changed the angle. The distance was about 20. Spread is 14. And then the size was 0. And that's going to give you that hard drop shadow that's very 70s retro. Okay, so far so good. Let's continue on. We can get a couple more of these objects here. So I'm going to just go back over here, use the marquee tool, maybe select this laser thingy, copy it, go over here and paste it. And I'm going to go to the top of my stack because I want to be above the images at this point, because this is where I have the icon. Could even call this icon. So let's paste it in, Command V. And then I can move that up here and transform it, make it a little bigger. maybe a little smaller so it's not lasering her head, something like that. And let's see, one more. Let's try the DIY. That seems like a good one. So because I already did this, I know what I'm doing. Copy, Command C, go over here, Command V, and then V tool to move, transform, and there you go. I'm just going to leave that here because we're going to move these around at the end. Adding some text in at this point. So let's go ahead and do that. T for text tool, right? So you can see it over here. There is a text tool. Make sure you're on the horizontal text tool. And what we're going to do is just click inside the poster, and we're going to use Futura Medium. And then I think I selected 17 points. So let's do 17 points because that's what I have. Obviously, the foreground color needs to be black, so we're just going to pick black. And you can see what it says here. So to reselect that, you can just double click on the layer, and then I'm going to type a couple of these things like cut it deep, which is something I had on the other one. So let's go ahead and paste that in, and you can see it's all caps, and it's not the right color, so double click it again and make it black. There you go. So you can kind of see up here it's located, right? And you can modify where it is. I'm going to jump it to a new layer, Command J, and then move that over holding the Shift key down, right? And then I'm going to pick up the next thing, which should not have a semicolon. Copy, and then here, Command V, paste, and that way we've got that. And then there's a trick. If you hold the Option key down when you're on a layer and you drag it with the Option key held down, you can see that it creates a duplicate just like jumping it, right? So you can do that if you want. I've got print it loud. Let's type print it loud. There we go. Now all of these are not aligned correctly, so I'm going to put this one here. So I'm going to select all three of these layers, right? And then in class we saw that we can go to our properties, our alignment area here. Way at the top, you can see that here, these alignment things. You can double click this little dot, and what this is going to do is allow you to space them so they're equally spaced. And then I'm going to top align them so they're all at the top. So now they're aligned very nicely. Okay, we want one more piece of text. So again, I'll just hit the text tool somewhere and just click in there. Everything is correct. And what I'm going to type is, the future is handmade again. All right, and this time I'm just going to hit the return key to make it go to a new line, and then the return key again. This way it's all right aligned, and you can see that's what I've got. And then transform that, move it so that it kind of works with the printer. So that's kind of crooked, but it's like using the printer's line, natural line, to kind of align. So there it is. Finally, we need one more piece of text, this, comma, so I'll copy it. I'll hit the T for text tool, paste, and then let go. Go back to the move tool and move this out of the way so you can see it. And then this goes at the bottom here. I'm going to take this, I'm so used to doing this, but you can see by holding the Option key down when you're hovering over an area, you can click on it. And right here, you can see that I've gotten to this icon lamp, just so I can see it in the stack. This way I can move it down because I want it to be here and I want to transform it. So at this point, I'm just dialing things in because we're pretty close to being done. And then this make thing, I'm going to, again, Option, hold the Command key down and click on it so that I get to it. And then I want to put that here just so it's there. Okay, the last things I need to do is to get these people to be the right colors. And then I want to make the entire thing a little bit grainy. You kind of saw that when we had that poster, everything was a little soft and grainy to make it old school, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so let's go back down here. We know we need these two colors. I'm going to close this up for a second. We need the pink color, right? And then we need the green color. So the green color is in the background already, but I'm going to select the black here and then go down and select this pink in my space. So this way I can always switch between these two colors, the foreground and the background. All right, here's a trick to make the people look a certain color. I'm going to make this person pink, and the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to zoom in so you can see, is I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to add an adjustment layer to this person called hue saturation. All right, and then I'm going to make sure, I'm going to go ahead and turn the saturation down quite a bit, but you notice the whole poster gets desaturated. So I'm going to hold my Option key down and then click in between that so that this becomes a clipping mask for this layer. Okay, we've done this in class before. Now you could try colorizing at this point, and if you like that, that's great, because that'll just save you all kinds of time. You just have to dial in the color. But I don't like that. I want it to be just that hue saturation layer. And I'm going to increase the brightness so it's a little brighter. And then what I'm going to do is add another adjustment layer. And this time I'm going to call selective color. And the selective color layer is actually not the selective color. I'm sorry. It should be solid color. So the solid color layer is going to pick the color that I have in the foreground, which is pink. I'm going to hit cancel for a second. If pink is, if you're here, just going to select this person here. If your foreground is not pink, make sure you switch it to pink, because otherwise you'll have to like fill it with something else and you'll have to do a little bit of work. So again, because we want her to be pink, I'm going to go to I'm just going to select her, go to my solid color adjustment layer, and you'll notice because it was between a clipping mask and her that it automatically made it an adjustment layer, right? And I'm going to hit OK. Now, you can't see anything at this point because pink needs to be on top. But at this point, it's too pink. It's like everything is pink, and that's what a solid color layer does. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the blend mode color. You kind of see it there, right? And now this person has no blacks or no darks in them. The darkest color is that pink color. Actually, it's a little bit, it's not pure black, but you get the idea. Okay. Now this is where you can go to the lightness setting and really dial up or down the lightness setting on this adjustment layer. So you've got two adjustment layers for each of these people. So we're going to do the same thing to the other character here. We're going to, I'm going to hold spacebar here. We're going to go and create an adjustment layer. Again, do it twice. Hue saturation. And clipping that person by holding the Option key down and putting a clipping. And you can see what I've done when I bring the saturation down and bring the lightness up. And then finally, one more adjustment layer. But remember, before you do this one, click back on the normal layer and swap the foreground to be green, the right color green. Otherwise, you'll have to dial it in, which you can do. Make the solid color, right? Hit OK, because we have got our foreground color, and make sure you put the solid color layer above the hue saturation, and then finally change the blend mode to color. And then you can dial in how light you want this person or how dark. I kind of want it like that. Command 0. So now we've got our pink, pink, green, green. We've got our colors. We've got our text. I'm going to click on that. Option click, remember, just to move it around. Command T to make it a little bit smaller. I think it's a little too big. Boom. So the last thing that will really sell this is to get everything to be noisy. And the way we do that, I'm just going to click over here so that I can file open. And I'm going to select the noisy background here. This is what we're going to use, but we're not going to use it like this. We're going to use it a little bit differently, but let me show you what we're going to do. So I'm going to take this and drag it into the area here, and I'm going to put it on top of the entire thing because it has to be on top of everything. Okay. Now, obviously not big enough. So there's a couple options, but for today, we're going to just Command T, and we're just going to make it bigger, And I'm going to hold the Shift key down just so it stretches a little bit. It'll be fine. Okay, so we want to fill up the space with this color. Now, obviously, at this point, you're thinking, well, just do something like multiply, and that would work. You can kind of see. But actually, when I looked at the thing that inspired us and the one that you wanted, it's almost like the the noise was actually softening and making everything lighter. And so in order to do that, what I need to do is go back to normal. What I'm going to do is invert the entire layer and make the whites black and the blacks white. So Command I for the whole layer will actually invert all the colors. So now I have a little bit of white noise, kind of soft on a black background. Now I'm going to do something like a screen, and you can see this really does dial in that kind of aesthetic that we're looking for. You can kind of see that here, right? At this point, because we have this layer here, you can modify the opacity to make it a little less intense. And you can also go back and modify that hue saturation to get the people to be a little less or more light, depending on what your feelings are about these things. So you can kind of dial it back or forth. Obviously, you could add more icons and stuff to make things work. Finally, the last silly part that we noticed on this thing was all these like rando lines here, right? And so that's not something I need to show you, but just in case you need it, I'm just going to select this color. So I'm going to create a new layer, and this new layer is going to be not on the top of the noise layer, but right below the noise layer. I'm just going to call this yellow brush, right? And what I'm going to do is hit the brush tool, B for brush. Now I can create the foreground color, and remember the foreground color for yellow is this number right there. And there it is, right? And so here, I'm just going to use the brush tool with the pencil tool at 40, and I'm just going to do some crazy things like dun, 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 like this, right? And then it's like something like that, right? So you can be as crazy as you want, because we're using, I don't know why you guys chose it, but we're using the poster, which I can't get to. Oh, here it is. This one. So again, there we go. So at this point, you should be done, and this is the poster that I hope you have finally made. Obviously, you can choose some different icons and those kinds of things, or actually put them different locations depending on what you see. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helped. I hope you're getting used to keyboard shortcuts and thinking about like how do you approach using a pre-made design and having the objects ready and created so that you can just bring them in and create a poster that has a similar quality to the one you like. Great. I'll see you in class on Friday.